How's it going everyone, it's me Vivi and welcome back to another video. So this time, let's discuss Sanzaru Games, the one behind Sly Cooper Thieves in Time. Now these days, it seems like VR is their thing. They teamed up with Marvel to work on this VR game called Marvel Powers United. It's a 4-player co-op set to release for the Oculus Rift in 2018. Now after this whole thing with Sonic Boom, they've made like 2 Sonic Boom games for the 3DS. The first one was apparently terrible, the second one was better, but other than that, they've also worked on other projects. We had this runner game called Tron Runner, which was released in 2016. They had teamed up with Disney. They also worked on another VR game called Sports Challenge 2016 as well. Another VR game, Ripcoil 2016, same thing. Now they're working on their third VR game called Marvel Powers United. So is Sanzaru Games turning into this VR dev team? I wouldn't say so. Yes, it seems like they're working on VR a lot, actually, but I don't think they're limited to VR. Now recently on Twitter, someone sent me a video of an interview featuring creative director Matt Kraemer from Sanzaru. Now during this interview he talks about their upcoming VR game, of course. Now at 3 minutes 40 of the video, the interviewer asks Kraemer whether or not their current VR game is their only project at the moment. Let me play the clip for you guys.
So how big is your team? Like, are you guys looking to do something else on the side of this, or are you dedicating all of your time and energy into this game?
We have 2 games going right now, and you know, we just kind of split the resources between those 2 projects. And but this is the big one right now. This is our big focus. So
the big VR one.
Yeah.
Is the other game also a VR game?
Not talking about it now.
Okay, so potentially some other stuff that you guys are working on.
Yeah.
So there you go folks, Sanzaru Games is working on a second project which remains under wraps. Marvel is their main focus right now. Of course it's set to release in 2018, so of course they're gonna spend all their time and energy on that game first. As for the other secret game, it's most likely at a very early phase where they're simply brainstorming. Why is it that developers are always so secretive about their projects? Simple, PR, public relations. They want to make sure that they announce their project at the right time. If they announce it too early, there's the risk of losing hype, loss of interest. If the game's not as promised, then there's going to be some backlash. Now what does this remind us of? The Sly Cooper movie, how the updates were handled. What updates, dude? They've been so quiet. What they've been saying this whole time is that it's now in development. Heck, they shouldn't even have announced the Sly Cooper movie. And now, apparently, the movie's on hold and the team who was supposed to work on the movie is currently no longer working on the movie. So you get the point. So I do understand why they're so secretive. They want to announce something, but they just don't want to disappoint. They want to make sure that when they announce a project, everything they talk about, everything they present, ends up in the final product. If they announce it too early, stuff might get changed, and that difference alone will cause the community to freak out. Hey, that's not what you promised. I thought you were supposed to make it like this. I thought you were supposed to blah blah blah. Another example of a team being secretive. Ghost of Tsushima, the newly announced game by Sucker Punch. On Facebook in September, someone messaged the developer, Sly5? They replied, lips are sealed. Now obviously, like I've always said, their project wasn't Sly 5. But look at this, they didn't say no, it's not Sly. They said, we can't say anything. That's their way of building excitement. That's probably the same for any other developer out there. If it ain't what they want, they're going to try and guess their project and lose interest. Oh, okay, they're not working on Sly 5. They're probably gonna work on this generic title. Okay, I don't care about that. Sometimes some of you might wonder, okay, why don't they just say no? We're not working on the project you think we're working on. Well, it's just how I guess the industry works. This is how they build hype. They don't want a fan to find out that they're working on a sequel, because you know that person is probably gonna share everything on social media or whatever. They prefer to announce the project during a conference or through a trailer or something. Anyways, 15 weeks ago, someone messaged Matt Kraemer via Facebook. I did talk about this, I think, in my previous video. The question was about Sly 5. He said, who knows, right? On October 27th, he said, we're working on a different game as well, but we can't talk about it. I'm talking about the interview. If someone were to message him right now, are you guys working on Sly Cooper 5. I just found out that you're working on a second project. Two answers we could get. Either no, or we can't say. What conclusion would you jump to if he said, we can't say? Oh, that means they're working on another Sly Cooper game. Sly Cooper 5 maybe a collection. Heck, it could be another VR game. Who knows? He can't even say if they're working on another VR game. The interviewer asked about that. With all of these rumors from the past years and now, was Sony always planning to continue Sly? It's as if the movie was coming out, and that put a stop to it, making Sony think that maybe a reimagining of some sort would be a better idea, but look what happened. The movie kinda got cancelled, we can say, and we moved on to a TV show, which seems to be in motion. Verendus. He apparently knew about this Sucker Punch secret project like 2 years ago. Also a game by Bend Studios and Japan Studio. Now of course, his answers were pretty vague. He just gave us descriptions. Sucker Punch. And by the way, someone shared this in the comments. Thank you, by the way. Sucker Punch. They don't make excessively long games. It's also going to be visually amazing. You can tell that already. I like how the gameplay is shaping up. Kind of cinematic. Could it be Ghost of Tsushima he was talking about? Maybe. Benders, aka Band Studio, covers my favorite genre and also adds elements of another genre I love. Has the kind of mechanics that I now largely prefer in my games. Nice art style, kind of cinematic. This is the one that has one thing I dislike about it, but we'll see what the end result. He could have been referring to Days Gone. Japan Studio, uncommon art style, uncommon genre, at least from Worldwide Studios. Interesting looking, different from the usual kind of games we get. Third person, kind of cinematic. Now about this one we can argue. I'm not too sure which game he was referring to. Anyhow, who is this Verendus user I keep mentioning? Some people call this user an industry insider, who has like a good track record apparently, who maybe works at Sony, or used to work at Sony, or even Microsoft. I have no idea. People coming up with different stories everywhere. Back in 2013, like I said in my previous video, he had listed Sly 5, but instead we got the announcement of a movie which is now on hold. Now after the movie, he mentioned Sly again, but a month later Sanzaru says on Facebook that they're not working on Sly 5. Now that page has been taken down. Verendus predicted Sly 5 almost 2 years before Sanzaru said no. Some might think, okay, maybe he knew that Sony was planning Sly 5 for the future, but that's not really the case. In 2015, Sanzaru said, tweet at Shuhei Yoshida, pretty much stating that they need Sony's permission. So Sony didn't have Sly 5 in mind. If Sony had planned, let's say, Sly 5 for 2017, I don't think Matt Kraemer would have said, tweet at Shuhei Yoshida. Another thing from the previous video, this user called Ruiner said that we should expect some sort of collection, an announcement at E3 2017. Now it didn't happen, and according to some people, games which weren't revealed at E3 2017. Games predicted by this user, they got moved to other events. So, what or who are we supposed to believe right now? All I'm gonna say is, just wait. I know in the previous video I said we have to start connecting the dots, but I'm not gonna be quick and jump to the conclusion that Sanzaru's next game is Sly 5. If anything, maybe it could be a collection as stated by Ruin4R, but a part of me is like, would they keep a collection a secret? I mean, all of the Sly games on one disc. It's a pretty huge deal, I'd say. If it were, let's say, PS2 to PS4 classics, alright, that's pretty minor. I mean, it's just the PS2 games we're talking about. So, what I'm gonna say right now is, just wait. If anything at all Sly related, I think it's either some sort of collection in some sort of form. But it could not be Sly Cooper 5, or collection, whatever. It could be another VR game, like I said, seeing as how they're pretty much doing VR these days. There's one thing I did realize about Sanzaru Games. All of their games so far have been family oriented. So like I've always said, if we do get a continuation of Sly Cooper, Sanzaru Games will be the ones making it. Because they don't look like the type of team who would quickly jump to another genre. I don't know, maybe I might be mistaken, maybe they might. Maybe their next game might be a realistic looking mature game. Yes, we did get Sports Challenge, Tron R, and all that stuff, but you know the types of games I'm talking about, right? So I'm gonna finish off this video by saying that I'm gonna try and believe that their next project is not Sly Cooper 5. I don't want to say no because who knows, they might be working on it. Yes, to many of you it might seem very unlikely, but honestly, with all of these predictions, these rumors, the movie happening, well, which was supposed to happen, now the TV show, I feel like all of this ultimately is going to hint us towards something. No, these weren't actually meant to hint us towards something, but what I'm trying to say is, I have a feeling that something Sly Cooper related is coming. I don't know what it is to be exact, but like I said in the past, if anything, it might be a collection, and maybe that might be Sanzaru's secret project. But yeah, this is it for the video. So as usual, if you have any sort of question, leave everything in the comment section below. And as always, I've been Vivi, and thank you for watching.